Welcome back to another episode of the We Grow Together podcast. I'm so excited to be talking about today's topic, which is managing stress. We all go through the ups and downs in life. We all have the challenges that can be the day-to-day stress to the insurmountable, inevitable things that just throw us for a loop and make it something that we don't just spend days and weeks trying to manage, but that we may spend months and potentially years trying to manage. I know I've gone through a lot of those ups and downs in life. I know everybody has. It is one of the greatest things in life that challenges us and calls for our perseverance and strength. With that said, I don't think the goal of life should be to avoid stress. Minimize stress, absolutely. But the goal of life should be, how can you develop the strength and perseverance to navigate life and its ups and downs, all while moving forward in a positive manner to the greatest of our ability, not in a way that doesn't repress those stressors and brush them under the rug, but in a way that's positive and supportive and growth oriented. And sometimes you've just got to feel the feelings, for sure. This is for the moment when you're ready to strengthen yourself, to strengthen your resolve, to strengthen your perseverance, and you're ready to take things on. So, number one question that I receive is, how do I do all of the things that I do? And if that is followed up by a statement, it is a statement, oh, you must not sleep. Oh, you must not do anything else in life. You must just work all the time and not have fun. And I think that's so interesting that it's such a public perception that if you're doing a lot or you're focused on achieving certain things in life, that you must have such a bad work-life balance, or you must not be giving yourself the things that you need. And I think there's such a pervasive thought throughout our culture in the United States that the way to get success is by not giving yourself what you need, depriving yourself from family and friends and fun and sleep and working out and all of those things. And I am not going to sit here and say that I don't go through periods of life where I don't sleep as much as I should, or don't work out as much as I want to, or give myself all the things that I need. With that said, I think I probably am more active than most people. I am probably accepting this injury in life of which I'm in a rest period. But for the most part, I think in a normal part of my life, I am more active than most and sleeping more than most, although it's been challenging with injury and everything. But aside from this little part and phase of my life, I get so much sleep. I am working out, and right now I'm giving myself what I need, which is rest and just pure, not activity. So I think there's this crazy thing where people think that there's such a lifestyle of deprivation that needs to be achieved in order to actually be deserving or receive the things that we desire in life. And I just think that's actually so untrue. It's unreal. And it's crazy to me how pervasive that is. And it's a lesson that I had to learn a really, really long time ago. And I actually was listening to a podcast which just blew my mind. And I was going through a really hard time in life. I became a lawyer. I was working in big law, having panic attacks every day on my way into work because I was getting 400 emails a day and I wasn't nourishing myself. I wasn't going outside. I wasn't working out. I wasn't getting vitamins. I was barely nourishing myself with food. I was just trying to survive. And it was a really hard time in my life. And I heard something that made a world of difference to me. And it's something that I've shared many times. If you have been in my life, you've heard this, I'm sure, which is that if you consider your holistic life like your V8 engine in your truck, and you've got your sleep, nutrition, hydration, movement, mental health, vitamins, friends, family, fun, all of these are your engines in your V8 engine. And then imagine trying to go through life, climbing its mountains, going up to Colorado, hauling your horses behind you, and you're trying to do that in a V4 or a V2 because you're not taking care of yourself and you're not firing on all cylinders, the hitch should break and your family and friends and of horses and everything would be flying down the mountain and you would be in a wreck. And that's not what we want. We want you to be able to power up that mountain. We want you to have your V8 engine going strong. That is how you get through mountains in life. That is how you persevere and are strong, is by having all of your engines running, by using all 8 cylinders or more, V12, whatever you want. It's like you can't expect to be able to handle life's hardest moments when you are not supporting yourself, when you're not giving your body what you need. And so, in fact, the reason I'm able to achieve all that I am is because I am constantly focused on how I am giving myself the things that I need from an emotional, physical, everything perspective to be able to expend the amount of energy that I expend on a day-to-day basis. It would not be possible if I was not sleeping and not taking care of myself and not doing everything to the best of my ability. There's a difference between survival mode and thriving mode. And if you're in survival mode, I get that it's going to be hard to hear this because it's going to be one more thing that you need to do. And there's so many things that are weighing on you right now. But I can tell you, if you give yourself the opportunity to just break the cycle and give yourself what you need and nourish yourself and then deal with things and then break the cycle and nourish yourself and break the cycle and nourish yourself, you are going to be able to find your way out of this mountain and hole that you're in. And the greatest challenges on earth, I think, are considerably easier. The greatest challenges on earth are never going to be easy, but they're considerably easier when you're taking care of yourself. And so my hope for our generation, for all humankind, is that people understand how to nourish themselves and they understand how to take care of themselves. And I was just featured in the Healthy You magazine of Mainline today. Very excited on my views on work-life balance. I'd encourage you to check out that article. We'll link it in the show notes. It's a really fantastic conversation about work-life balance. And I don't believe there is the need to be in perfect balance on a day-to-day basis. I get to choose whether I'm out of balance for rest because right now I need it when I'm recovering from this accident, or whether I'm out of balance in another phase of my life because I have so much passion to pursue a goal that's really important to me. And that's okay. Balance is a point on the pendulum within which and over which you dance. It is not the point that you stop, as if you're a little ballerina on the music box and the music just fades out and you just stop and you live in that point. That would be boring. We would hate that, right? So we want to dance through life. We want to enjoy all the things that it has to offer. The downs and ups are challenging, but I think if you come to realize that as much as the challenges are an interesting part of life, if we only had good without contrast, would we even understand how good it is? I would never want to give up my depth of the emotions that I have through life if it were to give me this gray tone over life. If I didn't get to experience the highest highs because I didn't experience the lowest lows, I personally wouldn't choose that. I know there's other people that would choose otherwise, but man, the highs are good and man, they feel great. And the challenges do just that. They challenge us. They ask us to stand taller. They ask us to be stronger. They give us an opportunity to sharpen our blade. Would you be as good as you are if you didn't face the challenges that you did? That's not to say that they're fair or that they're easy or that they're enjoyable or anything like that. But I do believe I'm a really strong person, and I do attribute a lot of that strength to the things that have challenged me in life. And it may not have been easy, and it may not have been pleasant, and it may have taken a lot of resourcefulness to continue to return to that opportunity to nourish myself, to give me the strength that I need to carry on. But I think I'm better for it. And it's a hard thing to say, and I know that that's said in a phase of my life where I'm still going through challenges, and we always will. And I know that's not the right thing to say to everybody in every situation, for sure. There's a lot of things that are too hard to describe that way, but I've always believed that I can handle anything that I'm given, and that I can always have the strength and perseverance to get through anything. And I think that inner strength and building that inner strength helps me have the resolve to carry on. Because oftentimes, if you just give it time and you just continue to be strong for that time, it's amazing how the tides turn, and how what's battering the shores recedes and goes back out to sea, and just calms down. And I think sometimes it's so easy to be in the middle of that stress, in the middle of that cycle, and it's hard to pull yourself out and give yourself the opportunity of perspective from time. And for me, nature does that in a great way, and it gives me the perspective that my issues aren't so all-encompassing. They may feel all-encompassing. They may feel like they're dragging on, and the change isn't coming. But I just have this innate inner being, and I think that we all do have this innate inner being and confidence that the storms will come and go, and the sun will shine on. It may be a dark night, but sunrise is coming. I think we all feel that way, but I think that sometimes when you get into phases and cycles of stress, that the dirt of life piles on, and the jadedness can really feel appealing. That sorrow for oneself and pity for oneself can really feel deserved. And I challenge you to take a moment to reframe things and just get a little fiery. Sometimes those stressors put you in a situation where it's not just frustration and anger, but it's sorrow and sadness and despair, and really the deepest feelings. And so I challenge you to take a moment and just meditate on your inner strength, because you've gotten this far. And if you've gotten this far, you can keep going, because life isn't easy, but it will continue carrying on. That's for sure. The number one question I'm asked is, how do I do all the things I do? So I put this into a course, a workbook, and a workshop where you can find all the little details about how I do this on a daily basis. And I've called it the Wild Ambition Lifestyle Design Course, Workbook, and Workshop. Transform your dreams into reality with guided vision setting, storyboarding, journaling, and all the tools I use to bring my dreams to life, with over 100 lessons, 200 plus pages of workbooks, and lifetime access so you can return to it whenever you need to. The course itself is that iterative process of how we continue to evolve over time to be the best version of ourselves. If you are an ambitious individual, if you want to make your dreams come true, I think you'll really love Wild Ambition, and I encourage you to check it out in the show notes. Start your journey today. Enroll now to dream and live with wild ambition. So, what are some of the things that I can do easily to navigate stresses, and what are my personal and professional stresses? I mean, managing multiple businesses, multiple balance sheets, financial, people problems. I think those are always my greatest stresses. People problems, both personally and professionally, relationships with one another, respect, power dynamics. To me, those are all the greatest stressors, but a lot of my stressors are reliving the past and letting that continue to impact my day-to-day in the present, whether that's bad experiences with others or decisions I felt like I could have done better. That to me is one of my ongoing stressors that I think we all live with to some degree. So how do I navigate life despite that? I do think that what you give time, attention, and energy to will grow. And so if you're giving time, attention, and energy to these parts of your life that have already passed, that aren't worth your time and energy thinking about now, you learned your lesson. If you didn't learn your lesson, learn your lesson. And then decide then and there, how are you going to spend your time and energy? Are you going to continue cycling through and spending your energy on this? Or are you going to decide to spend your energy elsewhere, even if that's for a minute or 20 minutes or 15 minutes? Do something for you, do something productive, do something to get your mind off of it, whether that's a little bit of escapism through reading. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that there's a lot of things that you can do to break a cycle of stress. Whatever it is that you need to do in a healthy manner, you don't need to turn to bad things to break a cycle of stress. But if you go for a run or go for a workout or plunge yourself in a cold pool, whatever it is that you need to do to wake up and just change your energy pattern, you need to do that. And deciding that is going to be the first step, and then taking action is going to be the second step. And I wouldn't put much time at this point, if you're in a fragile part of a stress cycle, of trying to add time between the decision and action. Pull that Band-Aid off, jump right into that pool of cold water. Whatever it is that you need to do to change your energy and thoughts and feelings, you need to do that. Also, seek help. If you're in a situation where you're having that much trouble navigating stress, seek help. I have gone to wonderful therapists and talk to family and friends, and sometimes just talking, getting it off your heart is what you need to be able to manage it. And then you go to the practices around building your engine to make you stronger. And so I like to think of everything as tools in my toolbox to support me and my strength. And I go to whatever feels good, whether that's yoga or meditation or journaling or crying or going outside or being with my animal or a date night with my favorite human or snuggling on the floor with Molly because she's my emotional support animal. Whatever it is that I need, I just think for a moment of what my body needs. And sometimes it's water or a good meal or something healthy. And I start to just build little by little, action by action, building that up, taking care of yourself. And then compartmentalization for me is not necessarily a tactic that I use. Rather, I decide whether I want to spend my time, energy, and resources growing something that's not serving me, or whether I want to spend my time, energy, and resources growing something that is serving me. That's a huge difference to me between using my thoughts and feelings productively in a way that helps me versus in a way that's just going to perpetuate a cycle of stress. Ask yourself the question, what do you enjoy? What do you enjoy in life? What does your body need physically, mentally, emotionally? And what do you enjoy? And start infusing your life with things that you enjoy. And then as you go through life and its challenges, recalibrate. And as you've built these things up, take an inventory, take an audit, ask, how are you feeling emotionally? Are you hungry for some nutritious food? Have you fed yourself well? Do you need movement in your life? Do you need a conversation with a friend? What is it that you need? What are you giving yourself? And as you're either planning to go through a challenge in life, if I were planning to have a child and whatnot, which we are, I am saying, okay, what am I going to need in this phase of life? And I have prepared James. James knows very well that it is going to be a stressful time for us, and we are going to need a lot of support, a lot of smoothies, a lot of love, a lot of back rubs or anything like that. Now, obviously, we're getting married first, but, he's well aware of all the things that I will need when we are having children together. So prepare yourself. If you have a phase in your life that you're going to go through that is going to be stressful, that is going to be challenging, communicate to others in your life what you're going to need. James is a sweetheart and my favorite human ever. So obviously, we take care of each other, but you also have to make sure, whether that's your partner or your friends or your colleagues or yourself, that you are communicating what you need and taking care of yourself so that you're able to enjoy life and go through its challenges. And that's why sometimes I have a really hard time talking about the hardest times in life, because there's such a dichotomy. I did like this recap of 2023 at the beginning of 2024, and I did a recap of the first half, and there were so many good moments and there were challenges, but then end of 2023, man, talk about roller coaster of life. We had a tornado hit the farm that took down 40 trees. Bear was diagnosed with cancer. I lost Bear. My dad and my mother-in-law were diagnosed with cancer. I think I lost 3 family members within a couple short months. I mean, talk about, that's a moment in life. And I had so much trouble talking about it, not just because those things really hit me hard. And I've never had acne in my life. And I had acne and I was like, whoa, my body is clearly processing stress in a different way. This time around, this has been a lot. But I still had a hard time talking about it because I went back and I looked back on my 2023 and there were a lot of good moments in it too. And man, there was those pictures of, laying Bear down to rest, and there was the pictures of the devastations of the tornado and everything. But there was also a lot of really good moments too. And it's hard sometimes to hold in my heart how much challenge I'm going through and how much other good things are still happening. But I use a lot of my practices of gratitude, of writing in my journal, my favorite moments, my favorite days, my favorite things of the day, to just constantly reorient myself that even in a bad time, good things can happen. And it's okay to be happy, even though you're going through something really hard. So if you're going through those times, make sure that you're still enriching your life with the things that you need, because it's not selfish to do something that makes you happy. It's not selfish to take care of yourself. Oftentimes that is what gives you the strength to keep moving on. I mean, that's a huge amount of stuff to happen in a short period of time. And so when you go through those periods, you've got to have the ability to give yourself grace through your emotions, through your journey, to enjoy life too, to have gratitude despite things. And you're going to go through the ups and downs emotionally of life and through life, but go through the ups too. Don't ignore the ups just because there's down. You have to really consciously focus on not forgetting the good in the bad. I hope that helps a little bit. When I was starting my business, I needed a place to create, a place that filled me from the inside out, somewhere that inspired me, helped me make content, a place where I could go to get good work done and host events, gather in community, celebrate one another, host family and friends for gatherings. So I created Flourish co-working space in Westchester, Pennsylvania. It's a space that nourishes you from the inside out. It's lush, inspiring environment with hundreds of plants to make you feel like your best self so that you can do your best work and gather in community in a way that's casual, inviting, and just incredible. I hope you check it out. If you need a co-working or event space in Westchester, PA, be sure to visit us and book your co-working or event today. If you are thinking about some things that you can sprinkle into your life, we talked about the dopamine menu that my teammate Vivia has created, and that we talked about that in our last episode with self-love. Actually, that is a phenomenal episode to listen to next if you haven't listened to that after this, because it really continues the conversation about how to take care of yourself well. But a few things that I love are sprinkling in reading. We have our Wild Ambition book club series here on the podcast. So if you're interested in a good book, we have lots of recommendations, and the link to my Amazon storefront with everything that I love to read is there. We have all different types of books: fiction, nonfiction, growth, stories that'll take your mind off things. I love to spend time with animals. I do sincerely believe in emotional support animals. I think I have like 25 of them. My emotional support animal is sleeping right now. She's so cutest. Cutest. Oh, yeah, baby. I do believe animals help tremendously. I think they help us regulate our stress because they're a great reflection and mirror. And also, I think they take care of us. Baths are my jam. I love a good bath. I love a good time. I feel like it just lets all of the stress wash away in a very literal way. People who love you are the most important part of life, and loving good people and good people loving you is an important part of life. So if you need to work on that area of life, for sure work on it. But if you have good people in your life, lean on them. And then honestly, alone time. And this may be paradoxical, but sometimes you just need to process your feeling and you just need more alone time to be able to do a little bit more of the things that you need to do to get yourself course corrected. So if I'm in a really stressful time in life because I have deliverables, I have work I need to do, you know what? Honestly, one of the things that's going to stress me out the most is going and hanging out with friends, which I would love to do. But if I have something looming over my head, I'd rather just get it done and spend an hour or two getting it done or whatever it needs to be, and then enjoy time with friends. And sometimes also it can be helpful to talk things out. And then sometimes you just need the solace to accept what's going on in your mind. I like to read at night a lot, but I do have to be really honest with myself at times when I'm reading to avoid my thoughts in my head before bed. And that doesn't mean that my thoughts in my head are always so terrible, but I have a lot of anger in my heart. I'm angry with this injury, and if I think about it and how angry I am and what's going on, and it's just going to make me upset. So I do read right now a little bit more escapism than I want to, and sometimes I decide I'm going to read before bed and I'm just going to read until I'm a little bit more tired. It's hard for me, who's someone so active, to go to sleep every night when I'm not tired because I haven't spent all of the energy that I would typically spend in a day. But sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to lay here. I'm safe. I'm happy. I have a good life. And I just kind of like have this like little mantra that I say to myself until I fall asleep or till I go to bed. Or maybe it's just facing it and be like, look, I know it hasn't been easy to just close my eyes at night and go to bed. And I need this alone time right now to just work through that. I know I'm angry. I know I have a lot of just like not happiness in my life because I'm injured and I can't do life like I normally can. And I'm going through this process of trying to like talk myself through it and work through it. And sometimes I can rationalize it. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? I just really want a good book and a good story to get myself to sleep. So we have to figure out what it is that we need and give ourselves that. And for me, when I'm busy, isn't the time to ignore all of those things, but rather the time to decide which of them are most important to me. I might not be able to go for an hour-long hike every day that I'm busy, but I'm sure making sure that I have great nutrition and making easy decisions to eat healthy and making it as easy as possible to stay hydrated and taking care of myself in every other little way that I can, because I know I may not be getting as much movement as I can if I'm super busy. So those are a couple of the different things. Movement's really important. I also think that it's not just about working out and getting a hard workout in and sweating and getting your cortisol up and everything like that. Movement can be whatever makes sense for you. It can be dancing, it can be riding, it can be hiking, it can be going outdoors, but movement is important. And then how can you enjoy your favorite foods in a way that's healthy and nourishing your body and fueling your body? I was vegan for 5 years and I still found ways to fuel my body with quinoa and acorn squash and whole proteins. I think quinoa is a whole protein. Acorn squash was just what I love to pair with quinoa and everything. But how can you nourish yourself from the inside out? And then caffeine is going to create more stress. So if you are stressful, of course, limiting caffeine. If I want to have a really productive day at the office, I do enjoy a chai tea. But if you are struggling with stress and anxiety, limit your caffeine. And then for me, favorite snacks throughout the day, I really like apples, peanut butter, the little fig bars, but from Nature's Bakery. They're like one of my favorite snacks ever. I have Flourish filled with lots of healthy snacks. Vegan snacks are my jam. They make me happy. Favorite desserts, favorite sweet treats. I like a chocolate cookie that James and I make together, but I don't actually like chocolate chips in my chocolate chip cookie. I like a chocolate chip cookie with one max chocolate chip. So James gets all the ones with the chocolate chips and I get all the ones with almost no chocolate chips. But sometimes I like a book, sometimes I like an audiobook, sometimes I like music to jam out to. You got to figure out what you need and what makes you happy. And that's the most important thing in trying to balance stress, is becoming a student of yourself. I'm sharing what's helping me and my overall philosophy, but ultimately you've got to become a student of yourself and figure out what helps you. We talk a lot about this in Wild Ambition, the course, the workshop, the workbook and everything, especially the course. It's over 100 lessons on lifestyle design, and we talk a lot about managing stress and building strength and perseverance and everything like that. So if you want to check those out, there's a lot more resources that we have, but I hope that this episode has been helpful, talking about stress, managing it, making it a part of your life that you feel like you have the strength and perseverance to navigate. I think personally, when you are running at all cylinders, stress just isn't hard. It just doesn't feel nearly as hard. It feels like it just rolls off your shoulder instead of feeling like a big barricade that you have to power your way through. So I hope this has been helpful. I'd love to know what you'd like to hear about in the next episode. Comment on our Spotify, comment on our YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. That would mean the absolute world to me. And I would also love it if you have a moment to share it with someone who would find this valuable. Share it with friends, share it with someone who also goes through stressful times in life. That's about everybody. So if you would, that would mean the world to us. And you can always share on social media and tag us at Laura MD Francesco, at Flourish Westchester. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Cheers.